This is Big Red Inbred coming at ye, and if I knew how to count, what the hell would I need fingers for? Except for... we won't go there.
Come here, son of a bitch.
Well, as been pointed out to me in my last episode there, apparently I skipped episode 6. Well, I'm sorry. Apparently I am a inbred redneck and I don't know how to count. Who knew? But, so we'll officially call this episode the new episode 7, the NFL Draft. So let's get started, shall we? Alright, I don't know about any of y'all, but, the NFL Draft is pretty much a baffling event to me. And what's even funnier this year was, I don't know if any of y'all know, but they cut down the time in which NFL teams have to select their college prospect. And the reason behind it, and I quote, is to make for better television, end quote. Which is kind of funny to me because, well, let's face it, there's nothing more riveting on television than the NFL Draft, because everybody wants to see a bunch of masterminds, you know, sit around behind a table just to call out a player who walks up on stage and holds up a little jersey in front of them and smiles for the cameras. It's just riveting television, and now, you know, they've cut down the time so it speeds right along. It's just the greatest thing since whipped butter, you know? It's cool. So, but moving on to what I find even interestinger in the draft is the fact that they pay all these analysis, millions of dollars go into the draft to make all these mock drafts. I'm sure you've seen them on ESPN and such. And they analyze it and put everything under a little microscope, and then come draft day, every single one of them is absolutely wrong. It's like, that's money well spent right there, I tell you what. And then, and not to mention, we get to the draft day, and NFL teams just do 180. I mean, like my team, Tennessee Titans, I mean, you have, you know, your list of priorities of what you need, and none of them get drafted, which makes my brain itch. I can't wrap my tiny little goggles around it, because I really believe in my heart, and I'm not shitting you here, I really believe the way that they select who they're going to draft is by sitting up a dartboard with NFL players, or excuse me, college prospect pictures on it, and they throw darts at it. And then whatever the dart lands on is who they inevitably draft. Because I can't figure out any kind of science that goes into it at all, because, I mean, take Matt Ryan, for instance. He had the big hoopla going into draft day. Was he going to fall like Brady Quinn, or, you know, who was going to take him? And the Atlanta Falcons take him. And it kind of makes my brain itch, because they got Michael Vick coming back next year. Because, as you know, they really threw the book at him for those dogfighting charges, you know. He really got slapped on the wrist pretty hard. He might have a bruise that might not be recoverable. I'll pray for him. But anyhow, so he's coming back, and so they have Matt Ryan, who they're going to have to, you know, groom, and by the time he's ready to actually play good NFL ball, they're already going to have Michael Vick back. So that don't make no sense at all. So when they could have got somebody like Glenn Dorsey or a wide receiver or somebody for him, you know, to actually make an impact this year, instead they get a quarterback, which I hate quarterbacks in the first round anyway, because none of them end up being Peyton Manning. Most of the time they end up being a bust, and the later draft picks are the ones that are going to be successful. Like, I got my money on Colt Brennan from Hawaii this year to eventually develop into a really, you know, great back. I mean, the dude broke NCAA records, you know, smashed them all, and, you know, he gets taken like the 6th round or something like that. It's just, it's crazy to me. But, so moving on to my team, Tennessee Titans, they're no exception to the rule. You know, out of all their draft picks, you know, you thought, at least I did going into the draft, and a lot of professionals did too, they were going to get Vince Young some weapons this year, or at the very least some offensive line help to block for him, so he don't have to do everything his dang-go self. And they absolutely did none of that. The first round draft pick, Chris Johnson, a running back, who they likened to Reggie Bush and could be a great weapon, but I personally think he might be Reggie Bush with bricks on his feet. That's the closest thing he'll get to Reggie Bush. No offense, but I just don't see that happening. He'll be a third down back, you know, and help spell Liddell White at most. And he's the only one that's going to see any playing time this season. I promise you that. Mark my words. So basically, I mean, out of all the Tennessee Titans draft picks, because they got a defensive end they don't need in the second. Chris Stevens, a tight end, he might have been a good pick, but they already got Algie Crumpler. So what the heck you need no tight end for? Then on down the line to the irrelevant picks, as they say, you know, they didn't get a receiver until the 6th round with Lavelle Hawkins, and I think only Jesus knows who that is. So it's all baffling. I get to the point now where I don't even want to watch the NFL draft because it's just stupid, and makes me thank heavens that I don't actually go into a Titans game. I mean, sure, I buy tickets for it, don't get me wrong, but I always end up in the parking lot tailgating before the game, and then I pass out somewhere and don't wake up till tomorrow morning, most of the time in jail. But that's my Tennessee Titan football experience in a nutshell. And you know, and draft day really hasn't made me regret that, because I mean, none of these players are going to be an impact and worth watching, so I'd much rather drink some Jack Daniels, you know, and have fun, despite the doctor saying that I'm what you call an alcoholic. But jury's still out on that. I haven't given up hope that it's just me having fun. I'm the Big Red Inbred, and I'd like to hear your thoughts in NFL draft, and if you have any insider tips about the science behind it, or it's something I don't know, please tell me, because I'm baffled by it, so I'd appreciate it. And let me know your thoughts on the draft as well. Big Red Inbred signing off, saying be good to each other, and always keep it in the family. I'd also really quickly like to thank Mr. Allen and his associates for doing the lighting, and we got new lighting here, so it looks all cool. And as I said, there's more changes coming, so stay tuned and subscribe, please. Thank you.
You scare me, hillbilly.